I'm sure you know what secondhand smoking is, but did you know that there really is such a thing as secondhand eating? Hi, everybody. Welcome to my weekly live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Israel time, which means 1 p.m. Eastern Central. And every week I come online for about 10 minutes to give some food for thought and to help you if you really want to live sugar-free. So to help you with your own GPS to sugar-free. So for those people who are looking for reasons and motivation to reduce your sugar intake or maybe eliminate really sugar from your life, I want to tell you that there are many, many reasons, but one of the reasons that nobody really talks about at all is secondhand eating. Now, what is secondhand smoking? Secondhand smoking is that people passively ingest smoke, right? Or inhale smoke when somebody is smoking near them. And it can be harmful to their health and not just to the smokers. So basically what they're saying is that when somebody lights up a cigarette, especially when it's in an enclosed place, it's not just a matter of their personal choice or that they're doing something that's just harming themselves. Well, there is also such a thing as secondhand eating, and I'm going to explain it. But here's the nice thing about secondhand eating. It can be harmful, a passive harm to health to people who are around somebody who is overeating sugar or eating compulsively, but it can also work in a positive way, as opposed to secondhand smoking, which is only bad. Secondhand eating can also be really great thing. So I'm going to give you an example, okay, on myself, because I always like to give examples on myself and then I'm not judgmental to anybody else. When I was 24 years ago, when I was a young mother with 3 small children, and I was very addicted to sugar, and I was eating compulsively, and I was completely assessed. I was a nurse. I worked in a public health clinic. I knew the caloric content of every single chocolate bar and snack that I put in my mouth, and I just couldn't control myself, right? So here's the thing. Maybe I thought that I was just harming myself and something's wrong with me. That was very clear to me because I wanted to eat healthy. It wasn't that I didn't care. I cared very much, but I somehow couldn't. But one thing that I never even thought about, and most people don't think about, is that when I was eating compulsively, I would go, for example, to the local store. I was on a kibbutz. I lived on a kibbutz and I worked in the clinic there. I would go to the store like twice a week and buy huge amounts of junk food, which sometimes I would hide it if I was planning a binge, but sometimes I wouldn't. It was in our closets, right? My children saw a mother who's fat. They saw the pasta disappearing from the plate before, instead of it going into the garbage. Maybe they didn't consciously think about it or mention anything, and it didn't seem to lead like they noticed, but there is absolutely no doubt that they absorbed in our home an atmosphere of obsession around junk food. Just from the fact that I was obsessive around junk food, because I was the one who did the shopping. I prepared the foods, right? If I had guests over, that would be a great excuse to make all kinds of cakes and the kinds that I especially love. And I would buy all things that I usually don't allow myself to eat, to have in the house. And I would have them. And of course I would eat some of them, right? And so there was this whether I meant it, I didn't do it consciously. Of course, I very much wanted my children to eat healthy and there wasn't huge amounts of junk in the house, but still there was this, I'm sure even subconsciously, there was this thing, around food and especially around junk food. And when I recovered from my sugar addiction and I stopped eating sugar and I stopped eating white flours. So this is where the other side of the coin comes in. So then what happened was that my children and my husband and my family and my friends, whatever it is, when people were around me, they started absorbing secondhand eating of a completely different kind. Suddenly my children saw their mother cutting up salad, sitting down at a table and eating it with tuna and oil and whatever it is. And even like once one of my children said to me, like, how is it that you always make that salad look so tasty? It was like all of a sudden when we would go on a long drive, my children saw their mother and my husband saw his wife taking a cooler bag with vegetables and all kinds of healthy foods, and not going into the store at the garage, at the gas station, and buying junk for herself, saying, no, I'm not buying anything, thank you very much, you guys go, and get whatever you want. I never tried to like convert them to sugar free. I didn't tell them sugar's really bad for you. Or I never said that to my husband when he was eating. I didn't care. My husband wasn't addicted to sugar. He runs marathons. He's a trainer. He trains people online to run marathons. He doesn't, I never thought he needs to limit what he's eating. But when he saw what happened to me when I stopped eating sugar and how good it made me feel, not just the weight loss, I became another person. I didn't even realize how much sugar was affecting my personality and my mood. And when he saw that, he said, well, maybe I'll stop eating sugar too. And he did. And then he wanted to lose some weight. And he saw that I had stopped eating all flours and I lost more weight from it. And he said, well, I want to lose like 2 or 3 kilos. So maybe I'll stop eating flours for a couple of, for a while. And he stopped eating flour. And he felt so good that was 3 years ago, and he hasn't gone back to it. So when my children come, I just had a discussion with my friend who's also a grandmother. I'm a grandmother, and she's like, you don't give your grandchildren candy? And I'm like, no, I give them little party prizes that cost the exact same thing as a chocolate bar or candies, but it's not food. And it doesn't harm their health. I didn't say that to her because I really try not to sound like, but I said, no, I buy them little toys. And every time I come, I give them, I come to visit them. I give them a present instead of a chocolate bar. And they like it just as much. And they play with it probably for longer, probably lasts longer. And it costs the same. So, right. So, and when they come to visit their grandmother, there isn't like piles and piles and piles of junk food in the house. There's one cake. I bake a cake when my kids come, and there's homemade chocolate that I make for them. I don't eat it myself, but I make for them like healthy things. And there's lots of fruit. And, at dessert time, there's fruit. And it isn't this like orgy of junk food. And so now my family is absorbing secondhand eating of a healthy kind. And I always say this to the people who come to my workshops and to my clients who come to me privately. I say, don't preach to your family. Don't tell them, you're learning about all the harms of sugar and what it does to you. Don't tell them this is what I learned at Sippy's workshop, and you should really stop eating so much cake and so much sugar. Don't say anything. Just do. Because if they see the results of living sugar-free on you, that's what will make them want to make healthier choices. When they see you putting yourself first and making sure you have healthy food that you need when you go to work and when you go on a trip and when you go, to the hospital, right? Because it's really hard to find healthy food in a hospital, one of the hardest places. Then they say, wow, look at what she's doing. And look at how great she looks and how great she feels. Maybe I should start doing that too. That is how we influence our surroundings with secondhand healthy eating. So this is the subject for today. So this is if you want people to absorb, right? Secondhand eating, secondhand healthy eating, just be a model. Just do. I always tell my clients that their children will learn from them by what they do, not from what they say. That's how kids learn, from what they see their mommies and daddies doing, not from what they see them saying. And when they open a pantry and see tons of junk food, then there's tons of junk food in the house. And if they open a pantry and see there isn't tons of junk food, that there's a lot of tasty, good, nutritious, healthy food, then that's what they'll know. So this is my subject for today. And if you're seeing the recording on my page, Please like and comment. What do you think about this subject of secondhand eating, whether it's from a negative side or a positive side? And if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, so please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tell me what you think about secondhand eating. Have a great day, and there's, of course, many things that you can say about it, and I'd really love to hear what you have to say. So, bye-bye. Love you guys.